Mr. WTF, instead of writing in the comments, which I had started to do, video response. It's amazing that I watched your video this morning. Just sat down out here. It was raining this morning when I woke up, and the sun came out. It was awesome. I live in a place that has winter, so I find when spring and summer come and it's possible to sit outside and work outside, it's so hard to make myself go in the house, which means I'm squinting into the camera. But I came out, sat down, and just to get warmed up for what I'm going to be working on this morning, I just thought I'd put on one of your longer ones that I hadn't heard yet, that I've been saving, and just let it run. And you hit on a topic that is something that's I've just started my channel, but this thing that you're asking about is one of the sort of the core things that I've been wanting to do in one of my first sort of outline videos for where I want to take my channel as a sort of framing of my take on all of this, or my approach. So, synchronicity. So this is a video that I was going to make today anyway, but we'll do it in the context of a response to you. So, I'm listening to you talk in this thing before you got to the part about the phone call, and I'm listening to the amount, the volume of the upset within you, even when you have the thought, the memory thought of these instances. Your sympathetic nervous system goes off, and you're re-experiencing the anger, and I know that feeling so well, and it's this compounded awful thing of you. It's the flush of the initial hurt and frustration, but then it's compounded by the fact that you've spoken to it in the moment. You've spoken to the other players in the situation. You've spoken to your partner. You've spoken, it turns out, to the police, maybe to friends, but either they don't get it, or they say they don't have the strength to stand up to it or do anything about the situation. Bad actors, the way you have. Maybe they just don't have the rage. What I'm getting at is that you're double frustrated in telling these stories, because you're what I'm hearing is you're telling us, one, of your pain and frustration, two, how much it drives you nuts. That's a bad way of putting it. That's sloppy and lazy languaging. Your empathy for the effects in the moment and long term on those children, the effects on those children in the moment that a situation is happening, and your knowledge. You're very intelligent and learned through experience knowledge of the long-term effects that this is going to have on these kids that you've come to care about. The pain that you feel in empathy for that being visited upon them, they didn't ask for it, they didn't sign up for that. Your real your honest hurt and frustration on their in resonance with them is so clear. And then this frustration at sort of speaking calmly, speaking with emotional charge, and it just falling on deaf ears, bouncing off. Oh, he's within his, or I can't stand up to, or I'm not as strong as, or all these things you speak, and then it just doesn't connect. That inability to act on the situation, to stop this hurt cycle. I know it. I know this frustration. And the horror show of other people's kids. I'm not going to go into my story here, but I know that it's not just the details. It's like I can hear it I can hear it in your voice. I can see it in your posture. I know exactly. Anyway, so you're asking, what is it? What is going on with these fucking people that do this? You just want to understand, what the fuck what is their technique? What is their damage? What is their illness? What is their system? What the fuck are they doing? How does it work? Why, not why in the philosophical, but why in the technical sense? Why are they doing this? Where's this coming from? Okay, so this is my take on it. It's that they can't abide something happening that is not them. I'm being really specific with the language there. You could say they can't abide things that are not about them. But why not? Well, it goes beyond that. It's about them. They cannot abide things that are not them. When a person, and there's thousands of people who've been in your situation and one that I was in, when you're wanting to get on that phone or do it in person or whatever and say stop it, it's what you're doing is you've moved past nuisance. Stop. What's happening is they have done a maneuver so that your actions are now about them. You're no longer doing a you thing in that moment. You're doing them. Okay. It's and I thought, I only thought for a couple of moments so that I could go into this, still feel without my resonance with your tones, still resonating with me. So I didn't think about this too long, but I thought, okay, what am I going to describe this? And I thought, okay, have you ever, Mr. WTF, surely at some point in your life you've played billiards or snooker, pool, whatever you want to call it. You got the balls on the table. There are all these different balls, colors, stripes, numbers, whatever. They're all over the place in their positions. They move around. They ricochet off of each other. They hit the sides. They go in pockets. They get pulled out and they get racked up again. One of the balls on that table is a cue ball. I'm thinking, picture the cue ball. Picture the cue ball not being able to stand it, that one of the other balls might be a cue ball. The cue ball is the one that is going about striking the other balls and putting them into motion, and then those other balls can bounce off of each other. Sometimes they go where the cue ball wants, sometimes it's random, but the series of effects was always initiated by the cue ball. Therefore, within the mind, so to say, of the cue ball, everything that happens after it strikes is it. All those actions are happening because of what it did, but in a sense that is it. All those moves are my moves because I did it. Everything going on the table is me to that cue ball. The reality, if those balls were people, the reality that any one of those balls in itself could take a cue ball position and act from within itself and then cause repercussions on the other balls, that then that original cue ball would then be in reaction to. There would be play. There would be action in play on the table that was not initiated by it, that it now is, to which it is now secondary, is not abidable. That's just not. It doesn't. To say it doesn't compute isn't nearly enough. It's not. It cannot be tolerated. It cannot be allowed to be. To this frame of mind, to this syndrome, or whatever the fuck words, whatever mouth sounds you want to use to refer to it. They have to have, for their own mind, they have to have a feeling that everything is about them, everything is by them, everything is them. It's all them. It's their actions causing. It's their. Even if somebody I think this is the sick fucking reality of supply. Even when you're attacking them, it's supply, and they're happy with that because your action is about them. Your motivation, your inspiration for that action is not coming from you. It's coming from them. If you're peaceful, self-motivated, self-managing, living your life person, you'll wake up in the morning and you'll do things and it won't have anything to do with them. Nothing. And that's like not existing. That is, to them, that's not even a simile. It's not like they don't exist. They don't exist. And they can't have that. And you say, but this, how can that be, not you, but a counter that comes to this way of explaining it is, well, they can't affect everybody in the world, so how does that fit into this sort of take on what they're doing? Well,